Far beyond the stars humans usually traveled, in a quiet corner of the galaxy, the Terhax ship Valari moved silently through the dark. The Terhax were an alien race known for their peaceful ways and sharp minds. They had long been part of the Galactic Council, a group of many worlds who worked together to keep peace. But today, something was very wrong. Commander Dral stood on the bridge of the Valari, his many eyes fixed on the glowing screen ahead. The ship had detected a strange energy signal on a small unknown planet in the Alara system. It was a human signal, but not like any they had seen before. The signal was weak, hidden deep beneath the planet's surface. "Commander," said his second-in-command, Terrell, "this is not an ordinary research facility. The readings show strong biocontainment fields and life signs. Children's life signs." Dral's eyes widened. "Children? On this secret base? Why would humans hide children on a planet so far from their known colonies?" Terrell shook her head, her antennae trembling with concern. "Unknown, sir. The energy signature looks like imprisonment." Dral's mind raced. The Terhax believed in freedom and care for all beings, especially children. The idea of any species holding children captive was terrible. He gave the order. "Prepare a landing party. We must investigate, but be careful. We do not know what we will find." The Valari slowed and entered the planet's atmosphere. Thick clouds and storms covered the sky. The landing site was deep in a forest, hidden from satellites and sensors. As the shuttle touched down, Dral and his team stepped onto soft soil, their suits blending with the green surroundings. The forest was silent, except for the quiet hum of machines hidden under the earth. Following the signals, the team moved quickly, careful not to make noise. Soon they found a large entrance covered with metal plates and strange symbols, human writing. Dral touched the panel, and it lit up. "Access denied," the machine said in a cold mechanical voice. Terrell frowned. "Security is very high. They don't want anyone to come inside." Using their advanced tools, the team bypassed the lock and slipped into the base. Inside, the air was cold and smelled of metal and chemicals. The walls were smooth and glowing with soft blue light. As they walked down the long hallways, they heard faint noises, quiet voices, soft cries, laughter. Following the sounds, they reached a large room with thick glass walls. Inside were rows of small, transparent pods, each holding a child. The children looked fragile but awake. They had human features, round eyes, soft hair, curious faces, but they looked scared and confused. Dral's heart ached. Children, caged like animals. One small boy noticed the team and pressed his hand against the glass. His eyes were wide with fear but also hope. "Help," he whispered. A sudden voice came from behind. "They are not prisoners. They are protected." Dral turned quickly to see a tall human woman in a white lab coat. Her eyes were tired but strong. "I am Dr. Ilara Morn. These children are under our care. We keep them here for their safety." "Safety?" Dral asked sharply. "From what? Why are they locked away like this? This is wrong." Dr. Morn's face showed no anger, only sadness. "You don't understand. There is a disease spreading through the stars, a plague that kills everything it touches. These children are special. They carry the key to a cure. We must study them, keep them safe from the outside world, and protect others from the disease." The words shocked Dral. A plague? Why hadn't the Galactic Council known? "We asked for help," Dr. Morn said quietly. "But no one came. So we made hard choices. This is the only way to save them." And all of us, the team, looked at the children again. Some smiled faintly, others were silent. It was clear they did not understand their situation, but they trusted the humans caring for them. Dral felt a storm inside himself. The Terhax believed in freedom, but this was different. It was not cruelty, it was desperation. "We must report this," he said finally. "The Galactic Council will need to know everything. But I will also ensure these children are treated with respect. No harm will come to them while I am here." Dr. Morn nodded. "Thank you. We do what we can with little time and fewer resources." Suddenly, alarms rang through the base. Red lights flashed. Dr. Morn's face went pale. "What is happening?" Dral demanded. "An outbreak," she whispered. "The plague has been detected nearby. We must act fast." Outside the base, unseen by the humans or Terhax, the dark clouds in the sky thickened. The plague was spreading closer. The team prepared for what was coming, fighting not just for the children but for the future of many worlds. The red lights inside the hidden base flashed urgently. The alarms echoed through the metal halls, breaking the quiet calm that had settled over the children's containment area. Commander Drall's heart pounded as he looked around at the humans rushing to their stations. The situation was getting worse, and fast. Dr. Ilara Morn was already at the main control panel, her fingers moving quickly over the screen. "The plague has spread to the outer perimeter," she said in a tense voice. "If it reaches the children's pods, they could be infected." Drall's eyes narrowed. "What exactly is this plague? How does it work?" Ilara hesitated, then spoke carefully. "It's a fast-moving disease. It attacks the life force of any living being, plants, animals, and even some machines. It destroys cells and causes complete system failure. We don't know where it came from, but it's deadly." The Turhax commander's many eyes scanned the room. The humans worked like a well-oiled machine, but worry showed on their faces. Even in the middle of this crisis, their commitment to protecting the children never faltered. "We need to secure the children," Drall ordered. "Get them to a safer place if possible." Ilara shook her head. "The entire base is protected by energy shields. Moving the children now could expose them to the plague." Drall frowned. "Then we defend. We hold the line." He turned to his own team. "Tyrell, set up defensive barriers around the containment rooms. Everyone else prepare for a possible evacuation." Outside the base, the storm clouds grew darker. The wind howled through the trees as the plague moved like a shadow. Invisible but deadly, it was coming closer. Back on the Galactic Council station, word of the hidden human facility had spread like wildfire. Alien ambassadors gathered in heated debate, their voices filled with shock and anger. "How could humanity hide children like this?" demanded Ambassador Vex of the Kalar, a large and fierce species known for their strong sense of justice. Ambassador Kuzar of the Lethrians, a peaceful aquatic race, shook his head slowly. "We must not judge without knowing the full story. Perhaps these children are safe or even protected." "But caging children is wrong," Vex snapped. "No matter the reason, this breaks every code of the Council. We cannot allow this to continue." The Council's High Chancellor, a wise being named Selra, raised a hand for silence. "We will send a delegation to investigate. For now, we must hold back judgment and gather facts." Back on the Valari, Drall struggled with the weight of his role. His people valued freedom above all. Yet here were children locked away. Not as punishment, but as protection. His mind kept returning to the frightened boy he had seen in the glass pod. The small hand pressed to the barrier, the hope in his eyes. What had driven humans to make such a hard choice? In the base, the children reacted to the alarms with fear. Some clung to the sides of their pods, others began to cry softly. One girl, about 7 years old, looked at Drall through the glass. "Will it be okay?" she asked, her voice trembling. Drall knelt beside her pod. "We will do everything to keep you safe," he said gently. "You are not alone." Ilara watched the exchange quietly. "These children are more than just patients. They carry hope for many worlds. Their strength is more than physical, it's in their hearts." Suddenly a loud thud shook the building. The energy shields flickered under pressure. "They're trying to break through," Ilara said. "The plague's energy is affecting our defenses," Drall called to his team. "Focus on the shield generators. We must hold them." Tyrell activated the defense drones, small flying machines armed with energy pulses. They swarmed the outer corridors, targeting strange dark tendrils that tried to creep into the base. Meanwhile, on distant planets, news of the human children's captivity spread to the public. Alien citizens protested in city squares, demanding answers from their leaders. "How can humans keep children locked away?" A crowd chanted. In human space stations, the situation was different. Many humans supported the scientists' efforts, understanding the urgency of the plague. Others feared the consequences if the truth came out. In one quiet human village, an elderly man named Joran watched the news reports with sadness. "They don't know what it's like," he said to his granddaughter. "Sometimes hard choices must be made to protect what is most precious." Back in the base, the pressure from the plague increased. The walls vibrated, the lights flickered. The children's pods were starting to show signs of stress. Drall felt a deep urge to protect them, these fragile humans who carried the weight of the future. Suddenly, one of the pods began to glow softly. The child inside opened his eyes wide. His small hands moved in strange patterns, almost like a silent language. Ilara gasped. "That child, he is responding to the plague energy. It's as if he can feel it." Drall stepped closer. The boy looked at him, then raised a small hand. A soft wave of light pulsed from the pod, reaching out to the dark tendrils outside. To everyone's surprise, the tendrils recoiled, as if scared. The room fell silent. "Is this possible?" Ilara whispered. "The children, they may have a power we don't understand." Dral smiled slightly, hope blooming inside him. Maybe they are more than just victims. Maybe they are the answer. Outside the base, the plague continued to spread, but for the first time the dark cloud seemed to hesitate near the building. The strange energy from the child's pod pushed back the danger. Dral turned to Ilara. "We need to study this ability. It might be the key to saving not only these children but all life in the galaxy." Ilara nodded. "We must move quickly. Time is running out." As the alarm finally quieted, a feeling of tense calm settled over the base. The fight was not over, but for now, hope had arrived with the children's mysterious power. Dral looked out the window at the dark sky. This is only the beginning. The galaxy will know what humanity is capable of, and they may not like it. The hidden base was quiet now, but the tension was thick in the air. Commander Dral stood near the large window, watching the dark clouds swirl outside. The strange energy the children emitted had pushed the plague back for now. But how and why? Dr. Ilara Morn was busy in the lab, running tests on the children's DNA. She had gathered a small team of scientists, human and Terhax alike, to help understand what was happening. The data from the glowing child's pod was unlike anything they had seen before. "Ilara," one of her assistants said, "the children's genes have markers we have never found in any species before. They seem to resist the plague on a cellular level." Ilara nodded, her eyes shining with hope. "It's more than resistance. Their bodies can actually change, adapt quickly. It's like they have a natural defense system against the disease." Dral entered the lab quietly. "So what does this mean for the children and the rest of the galaxy?" Ilara looked at him. "It means they are the key. The children hold a power we don't fully understand yet. If we can unlock it, we might create a cure for the plague." Dral's many eyes softened. "But why hide them away? Why keep them caged?" Ilara sighed. "Because we didn't trust anyone else to protect them. The plague is spreading fast. We had no choice but to keep the children safe and study them in secret." Outside, the Galactic Council had called an emergency meeting. News of the secret base and the children's power had reached every corner of the galaxy. Alien leaders argued fiercely. How could humans hide this? Ambassador Vex growled. "This is a betrayal of trust." Ambassador Kuzar spoke calmly. "They acted out of fear and desperation. We must learn the truth before we condemn them." High Chancellor Selra raised her hand. "A delegation will be sent immediately to the base. We need full transparency." Dral knew this was only the beginning of a long, difficult conversation. Back at the base, the children were becoming stronger. The small boy who first showed the glowing power, named Kai, was the center of attention. Scientists watched as Kai's abilities grew. He could send out pulses of energy that made machines work better or healed small injuries. One afternoon, as Dral visited the containment room, Kai looked at him with bright eyes. "Why do you want to help us?" Kai asked. Dral smiled gently. "Because no one should be locked away like this. You deserve freedom." Kai nodded slowly. "We want to help too. We want to stop the plague." Ilara joined them. "And with your help, we will." The Terhax began sharing their technology to assist the humans. Together, the two species worked day and night, combining knowledge. They created new shields, new medicines, and ways to strengthen the children's powers. But not everyone was happy. Some human leaders feared losing control over the children and the secret. They sent agents to the base demanding the experiment stop. Ilara stood firm. "We cannot stop. The children's lives and the galaxies depend on this." Dral supported her. "We will protect this place together." Meanwhile, the plague continued to move through nearby star systems. Worlds were falling silent. People were afraid. In one affected city, a young alien girl named Lyra watched her parents disappear to the quarantine zones. She held a small flower, fragile and dying. "I wish someone could save us," she whispered. Far from the danger, in the safety of the base, Kai reached out to the flower with his glowing hands. The flower brightened, its petals opening once more. Lyra's hope was a small light in the growing darkness. The Galactic Council delegation arrived at the base under heavy guard. Ambassador Selra led the team. They were skeptical but ready to listen. Dral greeted them. "Welcome. We will show you everything. Inside the lab, Alara presented their findings. The children's unique biology, the growing powers, and the hope for a cure. The delegation watched in silence, absorbing the truth. Ambassador Vex spoke slowly. This changes everything. But why hide the children? Ilara's voice was steady. Because the galaxy was not ready. Because fear spreads faster than truth, Selra nodded. Then we must prepare the galaxy, together. Outside the base, the clouds began to part. The plague was still a threat, but for the first time, hope was stronger. The children's power, the alliance between humans and Terhax, and the courage of all who stood together might save many worlds. Dral looked at the sky and whispered, "This is the moment humanity shows its true strength." The Galactic Council's decision came swiftly. The secret human base would no longer be hidden. Instead, it would become a symbol of hope, a place where species could work together against the plague that threatened them all. Commander Dral stood before the newly arrived crowd of scientists, diplomats and soldiers from many different worlds. Humans, Terhax, Lethrians, Kalar, and others had come together for the first time with one goal: to save the galaxy. Ilara Morn was at his side. "We have little time," she said. "The plague spreads faster every day. We need to use the children's unique power and find a cure now." Dral nodded. "Then let's begin." Inside the base, the once secret containment rooms had been transformed. The children were no longer caged, but cared for openly. They were free to move within safe areas, play, learn, and grow. Scientists watched over them, but with respect and kindness. Kai, the boy whose power had first revealed itself, smiled as he played with a small group of alien children. They were learning from each other, sharing stories and games from their different worlds. Dral often watched Kai, seeing the hope in his eyes. "You are a leader, Kai," he told him one day. "Your strength is a light for many." Kai looked up, confused. "I just want to help." "And you will," Dral said softly. The Alliance formed a research team with members from many species. They combined technology and knowledge in ways never tried before. Terhax engineers worked with human biologists. Lethrian healers studied the children's energy. Kalar strategists planned defenses against the plague's spread. One of the biggest challenges was understanding how the children's power worked. It was like nothing any species had seen, an energy that could heal, protect, and even fight the disease. Ilara explained during a meeting, "This energy is tied to the children's emotions. When they feel safe and loved, their power grows stronger. Fear and anger weaken it." This was a surprise to many. It meant that kindness was not just good, it was necessary. Meanwhile, back on the Galactic Council station, debates continued. Some members still doubted humanity's intentions. Ambassador Vex remained wary. "How do we know humans will not use this power for war?" "The children are powerful. They could become weapons." Ambassador Kuzar responded calmly. "True strength is shown in trust and cooperation. The Alliance is proof that fear can be overcome." High Chancellor Selra made the final call. "We will watch closely, but we will also give hope a chance. The galaxy's survival depends on it." Back on the planet, the plague's dark clouds were still visible in the distance. The team had prepared containment zones and ships were ready to evacuate if needed. But something else was happening. The children's power had begun to affect the environment around the base. Plants started to grow again where the plague had withered them. Small animals returned to the forest edges. Kai stood outside one morning, his hands glowing softly. "I can feel the world waking up," he said. Dral smiled. "Your power is changing more than we thought." One day, an emergency call came from a nearby star system. A world called Dralis was under attack by the plague, and its people were desperate for help. The Alliance decided to send a team, scientists, healers, and a group of children, including Kai, to Dralis. It was a risky mission, but the first real test of their new hope. As the ship left the base, Dral watched from the control room. "May your light reach every corner of the galaxy," he whispered. At Dralis, the team found a world in chaos. Cities were empty, forests burned, and the plague's dark tendrils moved like shadows over the land. Kai and the children moved through the towns, sending pulses of healing energy to the sick and dying plants. The alien healers worked alongside them, using medicines mixed with the children's power. Slowly, signs of life began to return, but the plague fought back. It sent waves of sickness and cold to push them away. The team was exhausted but determined. Back at the base, Ilara studied the data from Dralis. The plague adapts quickly, she said. But so do the children. Dral looked at her. This is a battle of endurance and hope. Exactly, she said. We must protect the children and help them grow stronger. Days passed. On Dralis, Kai and his friends faced many dangers, but their energy created safe zones where life could flourish again. The people of Dralis began to believe that the plague could be stopped. News of their success spread across the galaxy, lifting spirits and inspiring others to join the fight. Back at the Galactic Council, ambassadors who had once doubted now spoke of cooperation and courage. Ambassador Vex approached Dral during a meeting. I was wrong to judge so quickly. Humanity's strength is not in weapons or power, it is in their heart. Dral nodded. We all have much to learn from each other. The alliance grew stronger. More children from human colonies were brought to the base, each showing unique abilities. Together they formed a new generation, hope for a future without fear. Kai stood before a crowd of aliens and humans alike. We are not just children, he said. We are the future. Together we will save our worlds. Cheers filled the hall. At night, Dral looked out at the stars. The galaxy was still filled with danger, but for the first time, he felt something new. Hope. The alliance was more than a plan, it was a promise. A promise that even in the darkest times light could shine. And humanity, with all its courage and kindness, had shown the way. The sky above the hidden base had cleared, revealing stars shining brightly. The dark clouds of the plague still lingered on the far edges of the galaxy, but they no longer felt as close. Hope had taken root. Commander Dral stood on the observation deck watching the activity below. The Alliance's work was in full swing. Scientists, soldiers, diplomats, and children all moving together with a new purpose. The once secret base had transformed into a beacon of light for many worlds. Ilara Morn approached him, her face tired but smiling. We have made progress, she said. The children's powers are growing stronger every day. Our cure is near? Dral nodded. It feels like the galaxy is waking up from a long, dark night. Across the galaxy, the Alliance's efforts had spread like wildfire. Ships carried teams of children and healers to the worst affected worlds. The children's energy pulsed like waves of healing, restoring forests, curing sickness, and pushing back the plague's shadows. On one planet called Marana, a young alien boy named Lero watched as the plague retreated from his home. The air was fresh again and the rivers sparkled under the twin suns. It's a new dawn, Lero said softly. We are saved. Back at the base, the Galactic Council gathered once more. This time their meeting was different. There was no anger or fear. Instead, a shared determination to protect the fragile peace. High Chancellor Selra spoke. The plague is still a threat, but thanks to the courage of many, especially the children, we stand on the edge of victory. Ambassador Vex, once the strongest critic, smiled. I have learned much from humanity. Strength is not just in power, but in compassion. Meanwhile, the children were becoming more than just healers, they were leaders. Kai stood before a group of young aliens and humans, teaching them how to focus their energy, to use it wisely. You are the guardians of our future, Kai told them. Together we will protect our worlds. But not all dangers had passed. In the darkness beyond known space, the plague's source waited, growing stronger. It was not a simple disease, it was something ancient and powerful, born from forgotten stars. Dral and Ilara prepared for the final mission. We must face the heart of the plague, Ilara said. If we do not, it will return. The Alliance gathered their best ships and warriors, with Kai and the children leading the way. Their goal was clear, to end the plague once and for all. The journey to the plague's source was long and dangerous. Dark energy swirled around their ships, threatening to tear them apart. But the children's light pushed back the darkness. When they reached the source, they found a dead star, black and twisted. The plague was a living shadow feeding on the star's energy. Kai stepped forward, his hands glowing brightly. We are not afraid, he said. Together, the children focused their energy on the shadow. It shrieked and tried to fight back, but their combined light was too strong. Slowly, the shadow began to fade, until it was nothing but a memory. The galaxy was silent for a moment, then cheers erupted across the ships. The plague was defeated. Back on the base, Dral looked at the children with pride. You have saved us all, Ilara smiled. The children taught us the greatest lesson, that hope and kindness can defeat even the darkest fears. With the plague gone, the alliance continued to grow. Worlds rebuilt, friendships formed, and the children grew into leaders and heroes. Kai stood once more before the Galactic Council, now with new strength and confidence. "We are not just survivors," he said. "We are a family. Together we will protect our galaxy, not with cages but with open hearts." The council erupted in applause. A new era had begun. Commander Drall looked to the stars and whispered, "This is only the beginning. But with courage and unity, we will face whatever comes next." And as the light of the children shone across the galaxy, a new dawn rose. A future filled with hope, peace, and endless possibilities.